7 months that went by, I haven't got a letter from anyone. Why am I doing this to myself? Prison has been the best thing that ever happened to me because it took away all the overwhelming forces that I was forced to deal with without the proper education, without the proper mindset. To me, freedom is the ability to know that your full potential is possible.
Okay, thank you, and hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's what I think is going to be an especially insightful for those of you who work with inmates or who want to. It's been my impression as we do this work that about 95% of an inmate's success happens inside the prison walls and is directly tied to attaining a moral character transformation. Of course, people need housing, a job, good friends to be around once they're released. But finding housing, jobs, friendships, and a supportive community come much easier when one's old self has been replaced by we would call a free self or a morally free self, influenced more by God's thoughts. So tonight we'll be talking with Michael James, who, while inside prison, came to himself like the prodigal son had to do. Coming home for him meant he had to drop old friendships, drop old habits, and struggle to find moral freedom each day. And that's not an easy thing to do when prison culture is doing everything it can do to pull you back in. And when other inmates challenge your resolve and sincerity, or when others threaten you, even with physical violence, just for wanting to change and seek a better life. But Michael's life is a testament to repentance leading to transformation, which occurred once he found Christian Science. So I can't wait to hear about this, Michael. So good to see you here. So happy to have you be with us tonight. And let's just start off with the simple question here. Just give us a little bit of knowledge about your upbringing. Do you have brothers and sisters? And what was the household like? What were your parents like?
Well, I'm 50 years old. I was born in 1975 in Tifton, Georgia, to Valerie Belk and Fred James. They had two kids together, me and my sister. My dad had other offsprings, about four or five brothers and sisters by my father. Me and my sister was raised by my mother's mother, Susie Mae Belk in Flint, Michigan. She raised us till we were I was 10, my sister was 11. She took us to church every Sunday, taught us hard work. You reap what you sow. You do bad, you get bad. You do good, you get good. Just that Baptist religion.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, very Southern, it was very religious.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was being preached at, not taught.
Hmm.
So it was a
What
difference
does
there.
that mean, being preached at? What do you mean by that?
What I mean is, no one actually knows what you're going through. They're just throwing things out, hoping that something makes sense to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no interaction on a personal level.
Yeah. Huh. How were you living your religion, do you think? Or were you?
What do you mean?
Oh, I just mean that I know in my own family, my parents expected us to kind of live the religion that, we were being taught. So love your neighbor and be a good person and love God. And I'm just kind of curious as, you know, how it is you go to a Sunday school, you go to a church, and does that follow you home?
Absolutely, it follows you home. Church is your whole life when
Yeah.
you're being raised in the church. Everything you do at home is going to be reported to the church. Whether you do good or bad, everybody gonna know your business. So,
Mm,
it was always a positive environment, you know,
yeah.
very positive.
Good. Good. So, however, you had some run-ins with the law, and what happened? I mean, what were you looking for that caused that to happen?
Well, we got to go back a little bit before we get to that part, David.
Okay.
Well, my grandma got sick when I was about 10. So we had to go stay with my mom in Tampa, Florida. So I moved out there with my mom for like a year. And then she decided that I should go stay with my dad because she didn't want to have two kids. She
Mm,
just said I can take care of one, he should get one. So
mm,
I was moved to Bakersfield, California from Temple, Florida, stayed with my dad. And when I came out here, my dad was a full blown crack addict. He was late 80s. He was on drugs. You know, he wasn't able to care for me. And then I just became an orphan among kids, among
mm,
relatives, hanging out, you know, in different homes, unstable. I was basically
mhm,
abandoned, you know. At
mm,
that point, you know, my dad taught me how to sell drugs so I could have money, you
mm,
know. So I did that for a little while, was very good at it. I never got caught actually doing it, you know.
mm,
And then I moved in with my uncle. He was another pastor, and his
mm,
family is where I ran into the law at. My uncle was a pastor of a Pentecostal church. He was an assistant pastor. He had seven sons, and
mhm.
all of us wind up in prison with life,
Wow.
not
Wow.
because of anything dealing with drugs or gangs, just defending one another from people that's in gangs, you know,
Really.
because he taught us, you know, hey, if somebody do something to you, you make sure you do it back, you
Mm,
know, and that violent mindset, you know, we
mm,
never would start nothing, but we would always finish it.
mm.
So we were very vindictive and retaliatory people.
Wow. So how old were you when you first went to, was it youth detention or what happened?
I bypassed all that. I went to prison for the first time at 26 years old.
Oh my gosh.
I was a full grown man at that time. You
Mm,
know, somebody murdered my little cousin in front of me, and I went and knocked on someone's door the next morning because the guy who did it wasn't available, and I shot his brother six times.
mm. Well, so when you were in prison, like when into prison, you were introduced to prison culture. Did you feel at home in a prison? I mean, did you fit with most of the inmates that were there?
Well, it's not a home, but it is somewhere you have to get adjusted to very fast, or you'll go crazy. You know, I was very, you know, like I said, I was a very aggressive person, so I wasn't afraid of anything. You know,
Hmm.
to me, to be honest, prison was the first time I had a stable environment. That's how comfortable I was. You know what I mean? I wasn't being moved around, shipped from home to home. I didn't have
Yeah.
to worry about taking care of myself. You know what I mean? I was able to sit down, read, learn, study, get back to what I was doing before I left my grandmother's house, which was being a professional student. And so I just read 1,000 books if I'm not exaggerating. I read everything I get my hands on. I exercised. You know, I kept my mind right. I haven't done no drugs, alcohol, nothing the whole time I was incarcerated.
Really?
Uh,
Wow.
it
So,
was
but at
different for
some
me.
point, though, it seems like, I mean, you were in prison for quite a while there. At some point, you had to start asking yourself some questions about maybe why am I here in the first place? You know?
Yeah, that was in 2009. I remember it clearly. 2009, I went to the hole for having a knife in my possession. I didn't use a knife. I didn't hurt nobody with it. I just had it because I had the mindset where I'd rather get caught with it than without it. I'm not gonna let nobody hurt me. I had this saying that I used to tell myself, I have a right to survive. Can you imagine that?
Mm.
You had to tell yourself you had a right to survive. So that was self-justification for me to be prepared to hurt somebody so I can continue to live.
Yeah. I can't tell you that I relate to that. That I don't, but I can't imagine it. And I can't, um, what did you want for yourself though? Because something in you had to go. I can't keep doing something that I'm doing over and over
Um,
again.
when I went to the hole for that night, they put me in accident for 12 to 13 months by myself. And that's why I was able to really reset everything that was going on with me.
Okay,
I
explain
said,
what the whole is to people. What does that mean?
it's a senior housing unit. You know what I mean? It's called a SHU, SHU. And they put you back there because you're not fit to be in the facilities where the general population is at. So it's like a jail within a jail. And that's what I was thinking to myself. Not only I'm in jail on one of the most aggressive yards, the most violent yards in prison, I'm actually in another jail behind that one. So I told myself, don't nobody know that I'm back here. I'm back here by myself. 7 months that went by. I haven't got a letter from anyone. Why am I doing this to myself? And then out of nowhere, maybe like a month later, the library card came by. And that's when I seen that blue Christian Science book. Nobody never touched it. It was the prettiest thing I've ever seen. Back there, you don't get too much color, right? They had the little royal blue paint on it. It was, and I love science, and I was about health. And I did not know that it was actually, a philosophy by Mary Baker Eddy. So when I got the book, I think I read the book in the first 18 hours, the whole book.
Really?
And it was the first time in my life that I actually ever understood something. As an adult, I knew everything that I was doing was wrong. I had no more self justification. And the most powerful statement in the whole book was on page 115 or 16 when she gave the translation of Mortal Mind, the three stages. And when I read that and I seen self justification sitting right there under the word depravity, unreality, you know, that's when I knew that everything that I was taught by family was actually wrong.
Hmm.
And from that day forward, I pushed the reset button on everything I thought I knew. I learned everything over from scratch and I re educated myself with Christian Science leading the way. I gravitated towards a lot of books who I know people plagiarized off of her, to make sure that I stayed in that environment, that mental space where metaphysics was being taught. And
Hmm.
ever since then, my whole life has been perfect.
Hmm.
Everything I put out there, I get back.
Hmm.
Michael?
What kind of self-examination do you think you were going through at that point in time? Well, I mean, you read the book in 18 hours. I don't know anybody who's ever read the book in 18
Yeah.
hours. Not even close.
When, when
Um,
you in when you in accent and you ain't got nothing to do and you by yourself, trust me, you will learn how to read fast.
all
Wow.
right, so you're reading fast. What are some of the challenging ideas that hit you? What hit you most, really?
It was like talking to it was like talking to a best friend. Like you finally meeting somebody who knows what you went through.
Hmm.
Propensities inherited. That was one that got me. When the when a parent passes down these gross traits to their own children, and then she says, "What chances or what hope does a child have if matter of fact, I don't have to quote this. Excuse me. I know exactly where it's at. Oh, man. Give me a second, people.
You're good.
Okay.
We can wait.
She says, in some fortuitous circumstances, if some fortuitous circumstances places promising children in the arms of gross parents, often these beautiful children early droop and die, like tropical flowers born amid alpine snows. If perchance they live to become parents in their turn, they may reproduce in their own helpless little ones the grosser traits of their ancestors. What hope of happiness, what noble ambition can inspire the child with inherent propensities that must either be overcome or reduce him to a loathsome wreck? That right there was who I was. I was in
Hmm.
the hole. I was a wreck,
Hmm.
and what inspired me was someone finally can recognize me for where I am. I was a promising child. I didn't ask for these things. I was being taught these things. It was the mental environment, not the physical environment, because the physical environment is just an environment. It's the mindset that lives in those environments. A lot of people think that you go out in the streets and become violent. I was taught to be violent at home. And
Hmm.
I felt everybody at home that came out in the streets was taught the same way that I was taught. You defend yourself. You take care of yourself. You don't let nobody hurt you. You didn't need no gang to tell you that.
Hmm.
That's how they were. That's how our parents was raising their children.
Hmm.
Because we all experience violence. First place we all experience violence is in the home.
Hmm.
Long before we get to the streets. By the time we get to the streets, we're very abreast of what's right and wrong when it comes to violence.
Hmm.
So
What do you think was, go ahead, I'm sorry.
for me to come to prison and have to do all that time before I actually learned that for myself, you know how hard it is to throw away the people you love, to say, hey, I no longer listen to you.
Mm.
I have a new truth, a new father, and a new mother, which is, they say, call no man on earth your father, but Mary is my
Mm.
mother.
Mm.
Jesus had
Mm.
his Mary, and I got mine.
Mm.
And she taught me everything that I know now. Like, I am
Mm.
one of the most kindest, generous persons you will ever meet. All because
Mm.
of this woman right here.
Mm. That's an amazing story. I think pretty much I've never heard a story like that one, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, how did your heart start to feel as a result of the work that you were doing in yourself? You're doing a lot of inner work here, awful lot of inner work here. Things were starting to change in you. They had to start to change if you were taking on, assimilating the ideas in that book. I
Well, it
mean,
was not only me taking, like, I read the book maybe 6 times before I made it back to the main line. And when I
yeah,
came out, didn't nobody recognize me.
really.
Wow.
No one. They was like,
What do you
man, you
mean?
changed, bro. Like, what's wrong with you? Because
Wow.
everybody was looking for me to be this person that I was before I went back there. And
Do
when
you
I
think you
said,
had a physical look that was different as well as being a different person on the inside?
no, I was me.
You weren't
I
acting
was a
like you.
Yeah, I was mean. Before I went to the hole, I was mean because I was angry.
Yeah.
You couldn't say one wrong word to me, and I was in your face. Like, what you talking about? But
Hmm.
when I came out, I was actually assisting. I was helping. I was trying to give this book to anybody that could I seen. I was like, hey, look, check this out, read this. And that's been my journey. Ever since I've learned this, I've been trying to, if I can get everybody to see what I see here, then I know we'll be in a better environment. Everybody will be safe and we can get home. So I passed out all as many as
Well, Michael, have you ever experienced any healings as a result of your transformation?
mental error. Everybody asks me how you doing. I always say perfect, and they look at me like I'm crazy. I don't do problems. It's like there's an answer. Every time I hear somebody talk about a problem, Christian Science just like I'm like, where in the book is that answer is at?
Hmm.
You know,
How
to
did
me, it's
how did you deal with other people though that came up to you? Maybe they were challenging you because you weren't you anymore. You were the new you. You were the real you, if you will.
my co-defendant, the one who I went to prison with, my little cousin, my Uncle Summons. He
Hmm.
challenged me.
What did he do? How did he challenge you?
He was like, "Oh, you done changed. You on some square stuff. You got a different religion. You going against what I know, what Pops taught you,
Hmm.
And when I talked to his dad about it, he said, "You right. You on the right path. I taught y'all all wrong. All right, I'm going to my grave right now, knowing that I'm going to be punished for what I've done to y'all."
Hmm.
And that was his way of saying sorry. You know,
Yeah.
and I got into it with the entire family, and we haven't been in communication since. And that was in 2011. Me and my little cousin got into a physical altercation. You know, I was at that point to where I was like, I really want to hurt you
Hmm.
because you don't want the best for me. I realize when people don't want the best for me no more.
Hmm.
And that hurted me to here I am in prison for your family. I'm in prison with you and for your family, and you don't want what's best for me. You don't want to see me shine. And I got angry,
Hmm.
angry. And then it just goes back to the most powerful verse in the Bible is where Jesus was asked that question: how many times am I supposed to forgive my brother if he offends me? And
Hmm.
he said 70 times 70. And that's when I knew that only way that I can remain perfect is to not have expectations or let anyone put their faults and their shortcomings on me. Can't project that on me no more. I'm not taking on responsibility for your life or anyone else's. All I can do is take care of myself and be an example. And that's how I've been living. Ever since I gave everybody else problems up and stopped trying to make them my own, I've been I've been soaring. I got my wings on.
How did the prison staff react to you?
Oh, they was happy. They was like, hey, you know what I mean? Hey, keep doing what you're doing.
Really?
You
Yeah.
know, keep doing what you're doing. When I went to the parole board, even the parole board, like, how did you accomplish so much on the most violent yard that we have?
Hmm.
You know, they're like, you spent your whole entire term on a 180, and you have a college degree, you have all these certificates, you've done all these things, you got all these good marks from staff, from other inmates, you got support letters. Like, how did you do it? And then when I told them about Christian Science, they were like, man, I don't know what that is,
Yeah.
but it's a good thing.
Wow. When we were talking once, you told me that at a certain point during your incarceration, I think it was like 2008, you said, I was a free man inside prison. And I just thought that's an interesting thing because you didn't come out for a while. So you had to live as a free man in prison all those years.
Yeah, and it was the other way around. 8 years before I came home, I was a free man.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
you
you
know what I
said to
mean?
me. That's what
Because
I
it's
mean.
like I tell people all the time, prison has been the best thing that ever happened to me because it took away all the overwhelming forces that I was forced to deal with without the proper education, without the proper mindset.
Hmm.
So in prison, I was able to sit down and actually really learn and study what it was that I wanted to go home to and how to go about that. That's why when I come home, I'm able to accomplish so much because I've been preparing, not thinking, but actually doing the work, preparing to
Yeah,
come home and be
yeah,
successful.
yeah. How
It's
would
a
you define
difference.
freedom?
To me, freedom is the ability to know that your full potential is possible.
Hmm. When you say your full potential is possible, how does that feel for you? I mean, what does that mean?
To me, it's your wildest dreams that incorporates everything that you know and everybody that you love and the world that you live in. And when you learn to love the world you live in, along with the people, because you know we're all God's children, to
Yeah,
me, that's freedom.
yeah.
You don't
Can I
see
add one
error.
other thing? That's just what I'm hearing. You were also free from the influences of other people's thoughts.
Well, Mary Baker Eddy says it clear, stand portal at the door of thought. Guard
Hmm.
yourself, you
Hmm.
know, don't let nothing in
Hmm.
that is
Yeah.
not divine, that is not harmonious. And a lot of people say, oh, you're just arrogant, you're pig-headed, you don't listen. No, I already have the influences that I need. You know, I really don't need your opinion because, like she says, that's all knowledge is. And you know what I mean? In the glossary, she talks about what knowledge is. It's just other people's opinions. It's not divine. It's not spiritual. It has nothing to do with God.
Hmm.
So,
How is it that, how do you introduce inmates and how did you introduce other inmates to Christian Science? I mean, I know you wanted to do that because it helped you so much, but it's not an easy religion to swallow when you think about it. I mean, you're asking the old self to die, which is what you did. How do you tell somebody about that?
you know, even though I wasn't easy to influence, I was very influential to other people.
Why? Because of
So,
your size or what?
uh, everything that God gives you plays a part in what goes on in your life. You know, if you know how to use it, you know, and a lot of people see me stand up to the things that was wrong
Hmm.
because I was never a bully, but I always recognized them and I always was
Hmm.
there to put it to a stop. Like that was my thing. Like I like to fight bullies, you
Yeah.
know. I was always a good person deep down, but I used violence to express that.
Hmm.
So I will always defend someone who needed help.
Hmm.
And once I learned Christian Science, I knew I didn't have to do that anymore. And then I was able to protect myself.
Hmm.
So when it comes to how I was able to, you know, introduce Christian Science to other people was because a lot of people see the way I did my time, you know. You know, I made me a little money without selling drugs, without drinking alcohol, without doing none of that stuff. You know, I had a little honest business. I was always reading. I was always educating myself, and I was always like a big brother to those that needed one.
Mm.
And then when they start to figure out, well, what it is that you got going on, I say, this is what it is. And I would sit down and I would read Christian Science with these guys page for page,
Mm.
And then when I was able to facilitate some of the classes of Christian Science and some of the facilities that I was in a little later on, you know, that's all we did was read Christian Science.
Mm.
I love the lessons, but we would all just sit down and read passages one at a time out the book from page to page. And we'll go through the whole book like that at times. You know what I mean? If the classes last that long or no lockdown or nothing, but that's how I was able to do it by being an example of an ambassador, I would say, for Christian Science, by being a good light so other people could see what was going on with me, how my life was changing, how everything in my life just changed, man. Like I wasn't
Yeah,
no
I guess
longer
so.
I was no longer caring about did I get a visit or not from family members because Janine Lambert, who was my chaplain at the time, she would come visit me for 10 years every 2 weeks without fail.
Well,
That became my family. I'm like, why am I crying for something when I already have it?
mm.
So that's my rock. She taught me everything I know. She's helped me overcome my own self, which is hard to do. When I come with a problem, she say, no, that we don't have problems. We don't do that. She said, I'm not in the window washing business. I don't do that. Straighten up.
That's
And
a
I'll be like,
that's
no,
a
I need to,
steel
I'll be
backbone right
like,
there.
no. Like, no, not today. I need to vent. I need to get this off my chest. No, you called the wrong person.
Mm.
So she's always been my correction, my light. Like
Mm.
I walk towards her. Yes.
How important is it? You just said an important thing, I think. How important is it to have a chaplain who can correct?
Just everything. You need it. That's just like when we have Jesus, he's our example. But we take our eye off of him sometimes. A chaplain is no different. If you take your eye off of that, you become a law unto yourself again. And that's what you don't want. We all need constant guidance. We all like, even like she says, in Christian Science, Mariner, do you know your course? You know, you have to know your course, and your course is always going to be given by someone who's ahead of you,
Hmm.
you know, and you just stay focused on those that are ahead of you. Like right now, I'm starting to look at you a little different, David.
Hope that's a good thing.
It's a very good thing.
Mhm. You know, you told me when we were talking once that you were inviting a lot of people to come together and talk about Christian Science. And how did that start? I know you've been talking about, just talking to individuals, but you kind of gathered a group with you, it sounds like.
No, like once I seen like the first person that I introduced Christian Science to was my cellmate. His name was Marquise Giles. We're still in communication. He's like my brother now, like real life brother. And
Wow.
you know, he we met each other coming from Salinas Valley in a holding cell. And I had Christian Science, you know, every word out of my mouth was a quote from Christian Science. So when he was in the holding cell, he asked me, he said, man, you Michael Doom? I said, yeah. He said, somebody told me to move in with you because he was coming. I'm like, before you move in with me, I need to understand what's going on with you. I said, what is your definition of love? Right? And he was like, what does that got to do with anything? He's like, what's your definition of love?
Wow.
And he's like, man, nobody never asked me that. And then he started
Yeah.
talking about all these feelings and stuff. And then I showed him this.
Oh yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
see, now this is nice and laminated. This is my Google sheet right here. This is my AI for Christian Science. This is my cheat sheet. And and when I explained to him, he was like, oh my God. He said, bro, I ain't never heard nothing like that before. I never even looked at it like that. And at that point, when he moved in with me, he did not have a GED. I told him he has to get his GED. He got his GED in 2 months, and then he drugged me to college.
Hmm.
And we both graduated college together. He became the head facilitator for all the educational programs in Kern Valley State Prison. And when I seen that Christian Science done that for him, I knew I was able to duplicate it. I started to try to get as many people as I possibly can because I know not only work with me, I was able to scale it. And so at that point, I'm like, let me just see how far I can go with this to pass this information out to continue her work because it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Did you bring people to the chapel services?
Yeah, so I invited a lot of people. I think the most people I got in the chapel at one time was like 36. But
36
since
people
I've
coming
been,
to the Christian Science
yeah,
Chapel
but
meeting.
throughout my time in incarceration, I probably introduced Christian Science to over like 70 or 80 people, you know, not just passing out. I'm passed out hundreds of books, but to actually introduce them and have a conversation to sit down for months with people so they can actually absorb the information, see what it is. It's about
Hmm.
60 to 70 people,
What are you doing right now? How many people are you working with?
probably seven. Seven.
So,
People are busy out here. And
yeah,
there they
you
sit in prison, they're sitting ducks. Out here, they moving targets.
yep, you're right. You got a little more work out here to do, but you're doing it. And
Uh,
what's your life like right now? What's it? I know you're married. I mean, just talk a little bit about what your life is like at the moment. And then I also want you to circle back to what was it like when you walked out of prison too?
Start there.
Start there.
When I walked out of prison, man, I was like, bye. You guys, I love you. I care about you. Thanks for giving me a stable environment, but I got to go.
You
And I
outgrew that place.
and it's like this how comfortable I am with success now that 2 days ago I seen my parole officer here on campus. I stopped him and we walked the whole campus for maybe an hour and a half just having a conversation.
Hmm.
I don't run from problems anymore. I run towards anything you know, that I feel like might be a little uncomfortable for certain people. I jump in that when it's me showing that, hey, this is who I am. I have time for you. I'm not running from you. I want to be friends with you. You know what I mean? I want you to understand who you're dealing with when you're talking to me. I'm not everybody else out here that's on parole. I'm someone that you can trust, someone you can confide in. You can come to me with your problems. I can counsel you if you may need to. That's how I look at things now. I don't shy away from anything. But when I came home, I knew I was finally free, that everything that I've asked God for, everything that I worked for, I obtained it. And then it was time for me to get busy. So I hit the ground running. I came home. God gave me an opportunity to live in one of the most, I paroled to a mansion, an 8 bedroom right here by Cal State, LA. The guy name was Robert Anderson. I still go over there almost every other day and sit down with him because he helped me get to the point where I am now. You know, I came, I, I'm in school right here at Cal State, LA. I'm taking accounting. I live on campus now. Everything is paid for. I don't have to pay for anything. I have free room and board. I have free food.
Hmm.
I started a day trading business where I teach people how to day trade, how to get 1 or 2% a day on their money. I charge $750 now because it's a little bit more successful. When I first came out, I was only charging $250. Now the price that went up. Uh, I got a day job where I work on the side of the road with Caltrans. I got a driver's license that allows me to drive commercial trucks. So I'm waiting for my parole officer to give me clearance so I can get in the truck. And my wife has a CDL, so she's going to be my trainer once he lets me out of there. I'm from the start.
When can I ask you, when do you sleep?
Huh? What are you talking about? I've rested enough.
And thank you
Been
so
wrestling for the
much.
last 24 years.
Wow. Yeah. Michael, I mean, this you're such a kind of beautiful shining light. Um, I'm just going to ask you one more question because I have a feeling there's a lot of people want to talk with you. Do you have any advice for the chaplains that are here tonight on this Zoom call about how people can help others attain a moral character transformation? Tough question, I know.
Well, it's not a tough question. It's impossible. You can't help somebody unless they're willing to be helped. And you know who those people are. Focus on
Mhm.
the ones that need you, the ones who remember when you come, the ones that's waiting for you. Focus on those. And once
Yeah.
you get that one, he's going to drag everybody else in because his life is going to change immediately. Just focus a mustard seed, just the mustard seed. Janine, she been coming to Kern Valley. Well, she wasn't even coming to Kern Valley. She was going to Wasco. When I got to Kern Valley, I wrote the church, hey, can I get a chaplain here? There's no chaplain here. That's what you want. You want somebody who wants you,
Hmm.
you know? And it's okay to know that that's what it is because it's more genuine. It's more, like I said, the word is perfect. It's more genuine when someone wants you. They looking for you. Every 2 weeks, I'm looking for Janine. Where are you? And if I don't hear from her, I will send my wife to make sure she was okay. Can you
Mm.
go over there and check on Janine? She didn't show up this week, you know? So, and there's a few guys that's like that, man, but just be genuine, be yourself, show compassion too. Like a lot of these guys in there, they dealing with a lot. They dealing with family troubles. They dealing with food scarcity. They dealing with problems on the yard because there are politics. Even though a lot of them is not as big as strong as me and Troy, who can overcome some of those foes. So just be gentle. You know, just be
Mm.
gentle. Be gentle.
Thank you.
Or call me and stick and put me on them.
Thank you, Michael. Any, yeah, this is terrific. I think what we'll do is we're just going to kind of open this up and let's let anybody who wants to dive in here. I know we got some hands up.
Yes, Marshall, I see your hand is up.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
Hey, Mr. Marshall. There you go.
So I was, so excited when Troy talked about you getting out of prison and wanted to bring him down to San Juan, and we had lunch together. And I found it so fascinating that basically you brought Troy into Christian Science, but then he got out earlier. I thought that was fascinating. We might want to ask Troy what you said to make him interested in Christian Science. And I wanted to ask you, how did you learn day trading? Because that's pretty fascinating, and you're earning a pretty good living at that. How did you learn about that?
Oh, I used to do these surveys in prison. I had a cell phone in there when I wasn't supposed to have one. I had one anyway. That's how the kind of guy I was.
Great.
And I used to do these surveys. And I used to, make about $20 a day doing surveys, just answering, watching videos, doing surveys. And I'm watching YouTube one day, and a little kid said, "Hey, I make $50 a day." I'm like, "How you make $50? I'm making only $20. How you make 50?" And it was Forex. So what I did was I called my cousin because I heard that term before. And I'm like, hey man, you anybody that can teach me how to do Forex? He's like, yeah, but he gonna charge you a pretty penny. So he charged me $150 an hour to teach me how to day trade. Me and my wife at the time had a trucking business. So one of the trucks, we had three trucks. One of the trucks, I would say, hey, let me just dedicate all this money that we make off of this truck to learn how to day trade. And I've been doing that since 2019.
That's fabulous. Troy, you're on. Could you explain how Michael got you attracted to Christian Science?
First of all, I just want to say thank you, Michael. It was an excellent interview. You just explained your story. Just like you said, just to cross his path and just to feel the energy and to have that conversation with him. And you could see, you could see the light. You could see the difference in character. You know what I mean? And it's like, something different going on here. And I'm one of the guys that he mentioned and induced me and asked me to come to the chapel. And, that's where the magic unfolded. And you can just feel the love in the air, the acceptance, the clarity, and like you said, Janine, whoever knows Janine, I think that's enough in itself. You know what I mean? And she was persistent and she showed the love. And like you said, we was on maximum security in Kern Valley. We were going lockdowns often, and Janine would somehow bypass that. And when nobody else could walk around, she'll pop up on your door with a monitor and kind of have church with you right there at the door and go around for every building.
Every
And
building.
my section, his section, and she made it work. And when you see no chaplains working hard the way she did, you can be at work. She gonna get up in there and talk to you. You know what I'm saying? So it's just Michael is a gentle spirit. He definitely see the light when you listen to him. He influenced me in the right ways, and it changed the course of my life. Period. At that point in time, when I was stepping out of the crypts and trying to find myself and find something that I was really comfortable with, he introduced that. And the community has blossomed, my world has blossomed, and I'm grateful for him. Period. That at the end of the day, that's the truth in it, and I'm grateful for him. He's a good man, and he set my life in a different trajectory. Period.
Great.
Love
Michael,
you. Well, I love you. Love you.
you and are the newest in our angel team of 11, and we're so grateful to have you. I didn't know that you were going to Cal State LA. That's where I taught for 30 years. So
No,
I think
no, Marshall, you told me. I said I'm walking in his footsteps.
that's
I don't plan to be here for 30 years though.
well, what I'm so impressed with all of you is how intelligent and you have such great ingenuity of being able to work things out. And I just admire that in all of you. You're so precious, you're so smart, and you're so capable. And I'm just so grateful to be a small part of your lives and so appreciate it. So thank you both.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Marshall. Lots of love. Lots of love.
Yeah. Deb, I saw your hand was up, and then Linda, we'll go to you next after Deb.
Hey, Michael. Thank you. Um, how did that feel, shedding all that anger? What did that feel like? I mean, did that happen all at once, or did that take a while, or? Okay, I can't hear.
Yeah, Michael, I'm not sure if we're hearing you right now,
You hear
brother.
me?
Oh, there you go.
Turn you
Yeah.
up.
All right.
I'd say the last 3 months that I had the Christian Science in the when I was in the shoe, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, all that stuff went away. I
Didn't?
cried my last cries.
I
It's like
figured.
I took my soul to the laundromat, as one of the singers like Jennings would say. I cried it all out. I forgave myself, I forgave the people
Hmm.
that, led me down that path, all the good. She says you cannot fill vessels that's already full. That's what she says in Footsteps of Truth. They must first be empty. So that's what I did. I emptied everything out and I learned everything from an
Mary.
adult perspective, and it's only four things that I study. That's spiritual understanding, mind development, financial literacy, and wealth creativity. With those four things, I can accomplish anything.
Thank you.
Hmm. Linda, let's go to you.
Hey, Michael. Wow, what an amazing story. I just thought when your answer to that last question, I just thought, wow, you remind me of Paul in the Bible and like that instant, almost, instant transformation. Um,
Mhm.
your time in the hole and reading Science and Health in what'd you say, 18 hours?
18 hours.
That's
Because I remember it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon because I just served child. Around 12 o'clock that next morning, that next evening, I was almost finished, if not finished, because I didn't go to sleep. I couldn't put it down. Every time I wanted to close my eyes, I woke back up and said, let me read 5 more pages, 10 more pages, 15 more pages, 30 more pages, because I'm trying to figure out where is this thing going. And it led me all the way to page 463 when she got to scientific obstetrics, where she talks about the divine idea, starting over, giving yourself a new identity, the Christian Science infant. Oh my God. I said, there I go. That's what I'm looking for. I can start over. Thank you.
wow.
I re-raised myself from 2019 to right now. So whatever that is, from 2009 to right now, what is that? 16 years? 17 years? I'm 17 years old, in truth.
Right.
Hmm.
Well, thank you
Absolutely.
for sharing your story. It's very, very moving.
Yeah, David was telling me, he said, hey man, your story's a little different because no one introduced you to Christian Science. You found it,
You found it.
So that shows you how hungry I am and how sincere I am. And when he recognized that, I really appreciate him for that. Absolutely.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing it with so many people.
That's my pleasure.
Yeah.
And
We'll go
said, you want
to,
to
yeah.
do?
We'll do Rachel, then Steep, and then Barbara.
Hi. So, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story. And um, uh, I have heard of somebody that read Science Now that fast because it was my dad, Gabriel, and Gabriel's dad and my dad. He read Science and Health for the first time, just like you, in the hole, just as fast, and he was healed of 16 years smoking habit and all desire for drugs, hard drugs. And just
That
like
book
you,
is the truth.
he was on fire wanting to share Science Now. He applied to the mother church, and he said, I've shared Science Now 39 times. He also, I think his greatest desire was to be a practitioner. So I want to know, is that something you want to do, be a practitioner? And also, do you want to be a chaplain? Go back in? Because you said you're working with people now.
Well, I'm gonna
So,
leave that up to David. You talk to me about it, but like they say, I got a lot going on.
well, yeah,
But I'm quite sure it's definitely heading in that direction. It's definitely
yeah.
heading in that direction.
I
Absolutely.
hope that you're very successful. Much
Thank
love.
you. I appreciate
And
it.
I'm so,
Tell your daddy I said hi.
well, he passed when I was 12. So
Oh,
he really, I think when he applied to them for membership, he really was on fire saying, I want to be a practitioner, but then he never got there. Um, so that's why I'm hoping that if it's in your desire that you do make it, you know. Um, so yeah, I'm really happy for you.
thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
Rachel.
very much.
Thanks, Rachel. Steep, let's go to you.
A couple of questions are coming to me. One is along the line of it doesn't sound like to me you're inclined to have much trouble at all with any level of with any law enforcement officers? It's
No.
because you have a strong attitude, and there's nothing there to worry about. But you've never had anybody like picking on you because of your race or profiling you in any way. That's not anything you even worry about.
I didn't have to worry about that before prison. When I went to prison, I seen all these guys getting in trouble. I'm like, I was pulled over 12, 13 times by officers because I had no driver's license. And I've never disrespected a police officer like that or, got combative. It's just, that was never my character.
So it's your thought, your attitude, as opposed to somebody else's. They might think the Bible and what they're learning is great stuff, but they still hate the correctional officers and any kind of parole officers. And it's really about what they think inside and where they're coming from. Sounds
Yeah,
like.
my parole, like me, when it comes to law enforcement and like my parole officer, you know, to me, it's just like when they ask you, what is your support network? My parole officer is my first support before anybody else, before my wife, before my church, before my friends, before any structural entity. My parole officer is my first support system. It's who doesn't want someone that's gonna constantly make sure you're straight.
Okay, good. And then
It's his job to make sure that I'm good. I need that kind of help.
just the other thing is about the kind of, yeah, you told your story pretty well, and that maybe it's not much of a question you haven't already answered about your preparations. So when you saw Science and Health, that's it. And because you knew the Bible, you knew religion, but okay. I guess I don't really have any more questions than that. You impressed me. That's good. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve. Barbara, you had posted in the chat you'd like to be on the list.
Okay, ready for me?
Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank him very much. It was very enlightening and heartwarming, very good to hear. I noticed on his T-shirt it says self-imposed negativity, and I thought if someone saw that on his T-shirt, that would be an opening for them to come in and ask him what it means, and then he could spread the word out. What is your reason for it, please? You have to excuse me. I threw away my teeth in the garbage, and I'm weeks trying to get them back. Thank you.
That's another one of my business. I have an acronym business where I sell acronyms, and I have a lot of religious acronyms. To me, the greatest harm is self-imposed negativity. The greatest harm is when you harm yourself. So I always tell people, stop the negative talking, stop beating yourself up. You know what I mean? So that's just like the back of the t-shirt. If you can look.
Let's see. I can't see it. Up, yes. Can you come up a little more? It's hiding. Can you fix it? Oh, what is he saying? What? I missed
It's
it.
just all the things that we tell ourselves, that's like the people say we are our own worst enemy. We beat ourselves up 1,000 times, and that's why I like the book of James as one of my favorite gospels, because he talk about a double-minded man, not unstable in all his ways, but and once you overcome that and you live on purpose and do things for a purpose, all that doubt will go away. It runs from you.
Thank you. Thank you all very much for this wonderful network that you're doing. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for being here, Barbara. Let's go to Alice, please.
Something you something you said as you began your remarks really touched me, because I haven't heard that kind of description um, about Mary Baker Eddy since I was a chaplain at Old Folsom Prison. And there was a man there who was probably, in terms of size, as large as you and as tender-hearted as you and as committed to learning all he could about Christian Science. He had come to the prison from the LA County Jail and had had a lot of chaplain interaction there. So we were grateful for that. But he used to call Mrs. Eddy Mother Baker.
Absolutely.
And I have not heard in the time since in that kind of environment or, just in general life of people referring to her that way. And it always meant a lot to me because of the tenderness and the kindness of this inmate and now of you for sharing your story. So thank you for reminding me of Mother Baker.
Thank you, Alice. Linda, I see your hand is up again.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Michael, I was looking at your T-shirt earlier when you were talking, and I could kind of see what it said, and then I figured out that there had to be something below it, and it's sin. I don't think everyone has seen that.
Oh, it's like, let
Self,
me see if I can get it.
self-imposed negativity, yeah, is sin. And what does it say below the sin?
This is my brand, Make Tricky Acronyms.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do people ask you questions about your T-shirt that when you wear this?
Oh, yes, all the time.
That they
I wore
do?
it specifically for you guys tonight.
Of course you did. That's
Yeah,
very interesting.
I have a lot of acronyms for Christianity, a
Mm.
lot of them. So,
Oh,
it's very fun. To me, you can sum up life in one word. It's just a gift that I have. I can see anything and come up with an acronym for it. Any word, you know, it's just who I am. It's just something that I do.
and I'm sorry, what's again the name underneath Sin? That's the name of your company?
Yeah, it's
What's
called
it say?
Make Tricky Acronyms.
Make Tricky?
Yeah.
Stand up just a little bit so we can see it. Make Tricky. Okay. Oh, acronyms. Okay. Very good. Love it.
And you're always ready to talk to whoever comes up to look at your shirt. You're always ready, aren't you?
It's like a fly trap.
Yes, you are. Hmm.
Oh man.
They have a website for that? A
Yeah.
website?
Yes. Yeah, I have
What is
one.
it?
It's uh it's on Shopify, Make Tricky Acronyms.
Okay.
I'm trying to look it up right now.
How do you spell that
Yeah,
again?
I could post a link later, guys.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
I've got a question, Michael. What what do you like to do for fun in your life right now? That's something that you're just like this is
What I do
something
for fun is
you're able to do now out in the world.
I go to the beach almost every other weekend, if not every weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, I go to the beach. And when I look at that ocean, I realize how small we are and how small our problems are,
Mm.
and how big God is, how big the world is. And it's calming. I mean, it's calmer than I am. Imagine that.
Mm.
Nice.
It's
I love
like
that.
being around family when I'm out there and listening to that water,
Hmm.
you know. So I love and you can meet some of the friendliest people on the beach in the world. Everybody out there is somewhat happy.
Yeah, it's usually a good time on the beach. Let's see. David, did you have any? Oh, Annalise, I see your hand is up.
Yes, thank you, Michael. Really appreciated hearing your journey, and especially appreciated hearing how when you found something that was life-changing for you, you really wanted to share that with as many folks as possible. So thank you for that. And I'm wondering, kind of looking ahead, if you're looking ahead, what are your goals like 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line? If you're thinking about that.
5 years from now, I want my business plans that I've created in 2019 to come to pass. So that's what I'm working on right now. It's called Community Chess.
Yeah,
It's a franchise type nonprofit where you trap the dollar in the community and reinvest the dollar back in the community through an index universal life insurance fund. And you create this school building, you have all these resources under one roof, food plaza, just a bunch of stuff for the community, and whatever that generates, put it in an insurance fund, use the interest to revitalize the community, buy it up a little bit, rebrand it in God's image and likeness. That image and likeness to me is a nice functional living space, a car in the driveway, life insurance, a trading account hooked up to the units to where they get money back at the end of the year. Because my thing is, if the most money you get, you spend on rent. Why isn't that rent money that you're spending in investment, right? Why is the person who rent you the property, they not sharing that wealth with you? You know, so if I could take someone's biggest expense and turn it into an investment for them, that's what I want to do.
Okay. Thank you.
It's a tall task, but we gonna make it work. I'm in school right now trying to figure out the accounting process. So wish me luck.
Well, actually, I don't believe in luck, but I do
Okay.
believe
Wish me
in,
success.
yes, I believe in God's goodness guiding us. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Nice. Let's see. Did we have any other folks who had any
Let's see,
questions?
Carlos.
Okay. Hey, Carlos.
Hey, Michael. Thank you for such a good interview you gave. And I don't know if you remember me, but you came into my church in there with Troy in Altadena. And I just wanted to extend the invitation to come back again.
Since it's the only
I,
church over there,
it's the only church now.
all the other churches around it.
They're
I
gone.
wonder how that happened. Lord have mercy. We're not gonna get to speculating. We're just gonna thank you and be blessed.
I guess we were doing praying right.
You hear me?
I understand that you said in the beginning that while you were locked up, you were free. I went through the same thing. While I was locked up with a life sentence, I was free inside the prison. And I was grateful to find that Christian Science found me through the monitor. So I understand what you were saying when you say you were free inside the prison. Because what attitude you have in there, it will tell how long you're going to be there. So thank you again. And
Carlos, let
come
me
back
ask you
again.
something. Let me ask you
Yeah.
something. Did you ever come across the book, The Epictetus Club?
No.
The Epictetus Club is one of the books that I first read when I went to prison. It was about this guy. He was sentenced to jail, but when they tried to release him, he did not want to leave because he was not yet ready. So he imposed a sentence on him on himself, and he created a curriculum. He did all these things before he came home, and then once he helped enough people, he decided to walk out himself. He said he didn't want to leave until he was actually able to know that he'd done some good.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good attitude.
Yeah. So when you in prison, you have to give yourself a sentence and you have to do that time. Because if you just waiting on someone to let you go based on their time, you're gonna be waiting.
Well,
But if
when
you
I left,
yeah.
when I left, I still had 67 years to go. So I did 18, and then I did 18 on parole, and now I'm completely free. So that's why I'm going to the jail now as a chaplain.
Hey, man, great journey. Great journey. It looks good on you.
It's not for me. It's for people that I don't like people going into the jail, come back out, and then go back again. If I
That's
keep
called it
one
should
or
have been.
two out, it's
Yeah,
successful.
absolutely. Just that mustard seed. I tell
Yep.
people all the time, you can move a mountain. All you gotta do is take one grain of sand and put it somewhere else, and you displace the whole mountain. It's no longer in the same shape it was. That's the same thing with people.
Yep.
You know,
It's the
you
same
just
thing,
move
right?
one person in a different direction. You change the whole direction of life itself. So,
Yep. So I thank you again. And the invitation is
yes,
still,
sir.
it's always valid. So come back anytime you want.
I'll be there. Trust me. You ain't gotta
Okay.
tell me twice. You gonna feed me again?
Well, I told you, I just remind you when it's time for food to be there. And usually I invite David too to come over.
I love your church. It's a
Yeah.
great place, especially the meals downstairs.
Yeah, they missed me while I was going for the whole month. So we're not
Tina,
gonna do that often.
yeah. Tina, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I don't usually, I'm looking for the video, but I don't ever use it and I don't know where it is. Oh well, start video. Is that it?
Yeah, there
I'll
you go.
try that. Oh, there I am. Okay, I just have a couple of questions about the services that you had in prison, Michael. Like when you first started, was it with other than Janine? Did you have other chaplains come in and talk to you, or have how did you work? I know you said that you read Science and Health a lot, but what how else like how did they start? I guess were they already going when you went in, or did you start the services there?
Basically, I started everywhere I went. I started it because I would call and ask for a chaplain at that facility that I went to because there was one in Lancaster, but she was on a different yard, you know. But then she came over to my side. Can't remember her name, but she was such a sweet lady, and she had one of the most wonderful voices in the world. Like,
Mm.
Troy, what's her name? Troy, is he there?
Joan and Gita.
You said Joanne?
Joan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
John and
Joan.
Rita.
Yeah, Joan.
She's
Joan,
a
she had
singer.
this.
I'm here.
Yeah, she had
Here.
the sweetest voice. Oh my God. I
Oh,
was like, oh.
John Willingham. Yeah, John Willingham. I'm here.
That was her name. So she was on a different yard, and I called her over to our side. I think our services got up to about 20 people, 18 to 20 people, right before I left
Did
Lancaster.
did
Yeah.
you read the lesson, the Bible lesson, or were you just reading from Science and Health?
Well, during the week, the guys would read the lessons themselves, but when we went to the chapel, when I was actually facilitating, it was just strictly the book.
It was okay.
It
Okay.
was strictly the book. To me, the book is the heart of the matter to me, you know, because it's so hard for a lot of people to understand it. And I was able to decipher some of the things that they didn't know
Sure.
because she's such a poet, you know, and a lot of people don't understand that conversation from that time, you know. So I was just like an interpreter of Christian
Okay.
Science a
That,
little bit, to the
that's
best of my
interesting.
knowledge.
Michael,
But so, how many facilities were you in?
For
Okay. And you were there, they had services where you were doing those in all four of them?
well, the first one was when I first learned Christian Science, and I got in the book. And when I came out the hole, I was trying to figure out how do I get in touch with somebody from this organization. So I wrote the mother church itself and told them does anybody know about this book? Is anybody still there? You know, it was just basically a kite
Yeah.
sent out into the ether. When it came back, say, oh yeah, we'll send somebody over to talk to you. And when this guy came, he was one of the most sweetest persons I've ever met. I'm like, man, he said, I'm from the Christian Science Church. You requested me. So Man, I know you playing. And it was off and running. So once he came,
Wow.
I was only with him for like maybe 3 months or 4 months, and then I moved to Lancaster, and Kern Valley, where Troy and I was at, and I wrote again, and then that's when Janine came, and Janine will always be my chaplain. She's my chaplain.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
she's irreplaceable.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I just loved hearing what you said. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Let's see.
I wanted to say that the early Christians called Mary Baker Eddy mother. All the early Christian scientists. So, yeah.
All right. Hey, Steve, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I just when you went to some new facility and there was no Christian Science chaplain coming there, okay, a couple times you said you wrote to the mother church and that's how you made contact. But when there was no one there to come and see you, how did you get permit? Did you got permission sometimes to be a facilitator and lead your own worship group? What kind of process does that take within a
Well, they have a chapel there. Like when a chaplain does like when a chaplain doesn't show up, they still allow us to go in,
okay,
and we just we congregate amongst ourselves because that our space is dedicated for that religious group.
you don't have to get designated and approved permission to organize. You can just get together.
No, like once the chaplain organizes the group, they can come and go as they choose. Like if they like Joan was like, "Hey, look, I'm not gonna be here. I want you to run the class." So
Okay.
that's how it started for me with Joan.
Okay.
You know, she was like, "Okay, I'm not gonna be here these weeks, and y'all can still come, and I want you to show this." And she would always send me all the lessons, send me everything. I would pass them out to everybody, and then we'll all meet on Sunday in the church during our designated hour.
Because my experience has been in cases like that, if for whatever reason, if I or the other chaplain can't make it as planned, they're just, okay, sorry, it's off. But so it
No,
takes some kind of
no. Like
permission.
you can get around that by designating someone who you trust to be a facilitator in your absence. The church must go on. There's no there's no rules that stop us from congregating.
Well, the
That's
staff
just
chaplain or somebody has to, I mean, the sergeant, somebody's got to approve that and make sure, because that's what we run up against. I can't be there. Well, sorry, you're just not going to have the class. You're not going to have
yeah,
the program.
yeah,
But
they pushing you guys around. I was the captain's clerk. I worked in the office with them. I made sure all the paperwork that needed to be done, all the write-ups. That was my job when I was in prison. I was the
chapel
captain's
clerk.
clerk. Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Captain's the captain's clerk. I worked in the program office with the captain, the sergeants, and the lieutenant. So I know the rules when
Okay,
it comes
so
to that.
you
So
had to be
religious services,
in their good graces in order to get
and
that.
that's what it is. A lot of people, whether I don't like to say this, but a lot of people don't like Christian Science.
Oh,
They don't. They
I've
don't.
heard that.
And if they can get you to stop coming or discourage you in any type of way, that's what they would do. You know. But like Troy said, Janine found the loophole.
Okay.
Yes,
She found the loophole.
definitely made it happen.
She was not taking no for an answer. I remember I was so embarrassed when I went to the hole because uh right before I left the yard after Troy left, I may have left before Troy. The guys, few guys tried to jump on me, like 6 people tried to attack me. But God put a hedge of protection around me. I did not get hurt at all. And when I went to the hole, Janine showed up and she had this look on her face that just, I said, I'm sorry. Like you know, she's like, and our relationship changed at that point. And I did everything in my life to get back in her good graces, and I found my way back. But at that point, since 2016, I have never attempted to put my hands on anyone because of the look that she gave me. I no longer wanted to protect myself because of the look that Janine gave me. She like, no, you put too much work in to go back that way. It's not okay. I don't care what you say. I don't care what experience you go through. That's not okay. And ever since then, I've been on the straight and narrow. So, Mr. Chaplain, you guys are needed. Please continue to work. Continue to work.
Robert, I have a question. Hello?
Yeah.
So the guard saw you when you came out, informed you were, and you said it's all credit to Christian Science. So how they don't like Christian Science if they've seen transformations like that?
But that's just the ignorance of certain people. Like you can't, like people are, it's the word science. It's offsetting to certain people. They don't understand it. And when they think it's Scientology, they think it's L. Ron Hubbard, they think it's something else. When I tell people, you rely on science every day. That toothpaste you putting in your mouth, that car you drive, that house, the door you close, that ring cam, all that's science. You rely on that heavily, you know? But yeah, when it comes to Christianity, you don't want to see life through a microscope like Christian Science teaches you to do. It's a scientific understanding on what Christ is, how he was able to move and do the things that he was doing through his own consciousness, through Christ consciousness, how Jesus the man was able to imitate the Christ. That idea itself. And when you try to tell somebody, like she says, it's spiritual mathematics. It's a stepping stone to that understanding. And a lot of people just want to believe, like she says, knowing versus believing. Who is it that believes, versus who knows? Spirit is all knowing. Belief is just something that somebody hope is true, but don't have the evidence to prove it. You know, it's real easy, but they don't want to get into it like that. So they just want to stand on the sign and throw stones, you know. But Ephesians give us the whole armor of God.
David, did you have any?
Thank you for your answer.
David, did you have anything? Oh, Linda, I see your hand is up.
Thanks. Michael, I just wanted to clarify what you said about when the chaplain couldn't come to do the services, but that you were able to do it, but you had to have some kind of status. As you said, you became a chaplain or a chapel assistant or something. What was that called?
Oh, I had a job working in the program office with the sergeants, the lieutenants, and the captains. So I was a clerk for them.
Okay.
As far as running the facility, the information that was being passed around from building to building, inmates write-ups and stuff like that. So I was very abreast with how the rules actually worked.
Okay.
It's called the DOM. This their procedure, how they supposed to operate.
Right.
There's supposed to be no reason why religious services are not supposed to go on. Because the chaplain didn't show up, the services still go on.
Okay.
You don't need a chaplain to read the Bible amongst each other. You still have that space to congregate and do what you do.
Yeah.
So,
no, I'm aware that by the law, they cannot be deprived of religious services. So I'm just thinking about it, a prison near us where during the summertime, the chaplains can't go every week, but they do have a number of regular people. And I would imagine that those regular people,
see, that's the thing.
they could still run it.
They allow the regular chaplain, the Catholic chaplain, and the other Christian chaplain to go without question. They only blocking you guys at certain points. Even Joan was telling me sometimes I can't get in here. The lady, I don't want to fight with her. And I'm
But
like, you have to stand up to these people.
what you're saying is that if our chaplains couldn't make it on a particular their regular day, that the regulars could
Yeah,
go.
long as the regulars are in that building,
Yeah.
all services should go on, whether another chaplain is there or not, because there's one facilitator chaplain that sits on campus all day.
Right.
You
Right.
know? Yeah. So when your service comes up, then they call you guys in. But when they see it, a lot of people don't get it. They like, well, your chaplain didn't show up. They're not running it today. I'm here, so it's being ran. I don't need a chaplain. I just need my space to do with my religious beliefs. I don't need nobody to tell me like, because I used to tell them, my pastor is the book. Look at
Right.
Christian Science. My pastor is the book and the Bible. These are my pastors right here, the
Okay.
Bible and Christian Science. So my pastor is here. They're like, man, you being too technical, just go in. I don't want to deal with you.
Okay. That's great. Thank you. I'll pass that on to those chaplains who go to that prison. Thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, it also sounds like you were very familiar with the actual
Yeah. After
both
24 years.
probably the official rule and the unofficial rule. And like, let me
And
just
like if there's a will, there's a way,
Yeah.
But you have to do it and be very aggressive and let them know, hey, I'm not taking no for an answer. Don't let them use, oh, safety and security. There's no one here to watch. You standing right here at the door. That's enough watch up right there. You blocking the door. I'm trying to get in. You watching it right now. What do you mean? So it's just you really have to talk to these people like, no, I'm not taking no for an answer. And if you keep doing this to me, I'm going to talk to the public information officer, let them know what you guys are doing, why you stopping this, that, and other, and it just cause a little ruckus. That's it.
Well, it's good to know that it's a possibility if there was an interest on the guys who are regulars and are members of the mother church, and they really want to
Take
spread the
my
word.
membership serious.
With that,
I say I take my membership serious.
thank you again, Michael.
Absolutely.
Tina, I saw your hand was up, and I know we've been kind of going a little late, so we'll probably
Okay.
wrap it up after this.
Okay. I'm in Texas,
Yeah.
volunteer chaplain. And I want to say in two of the units that I serve in, they can meet if I don't show up.
Exactly.
There's no question they can go ahead and have their services. So I think it might be more from facility to facility, but certainly, they in the ones I serve in, they can keep meeting whether or not somebody shows up or not. So I'm grateful for that.
I think at least what we've heard about as well, sometimes from other chaplains, is if you've got people who are just showing up because they just want to go do something, and they're not necessarily like Michael James, like I'm a member and I'm gonna do this because it's very personally, truly important to me. That might also be a scenario where it's like if there isn't somebody strongly advocating for that, and that's what I'm hearing from you, Michael, is
Yeah, exactly. You have to advocate. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You have to find one guy and make sure that he can handle things when you're not available.
yeah.
Somebody that's actually have the respect of the guards, you know what I mean? Have the respect of the inmates. And as a Christian Scientist, you should have that. You shouldn't be around there where they can say, hey, well, I know you over here doing this. So what you want to do? You want to fight with me over this or you want me to get you on that? You know? And a lot of guys, they be putting themselves in crosses to where they can't, speak out loud because, they'll
Hey,
get in
baby.
trouble in another area of their life that they not supposed to be doing.
Thank you, Michael. David, did you have any other last things that you wanted to wrap up with tonight?
Sure. Last thing, I wanted to thank you, Michael, for showing off your iron backbone and your persistence. I think that just goes so far. I mean, I think we don't always realize how important, having a iron backbone is, but it's absolutely essential. And I just want to thank everybody for being here and asking all these really good questions, and Michael, for you being just so straightforward and, letting us hear it, feel it. Mostly I felt it. So let's be in touch. Don't go away.
David, you know I'm
So,
here for you. All I gotta do is call.
Great interview, Michael. Great interview.
yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
brother.
Um,
Thank you.
Also, Michael, when we post the replay on this, if you can send David any links you'd like us to add to your to the landing page there, we'd be happy to direct people kind of to any of the projects you got going on.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you guys very
Yeah.
much.
And
Nice meeting everyone.
yeah, and I'm gonna post one more time in the chat. We have a link to subscribe if you're not already on our mailing list. We have a donate button to help support this work. We have a link to our conference landing page. More details on that coming soon. We're going to be meeting in September in Boulder, Colorado, in person as well as on Zoom. So, and our next Angel Team meeting is in 2 weeks. It's Thursday, May 21st, and it'll be at 6 p.m. Pacific. So, thank you again, everybody, for coming tonight.
Thank you.
And thanks for tuning in. All right. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.